BMW are recalling the R18 right now. You better watch this video. Hello, welcome to RevelatorAlf. I hope you're all well. So BMW Motorrad motorcycles are recalling the R18 right now because it's going to burst into a ball of flames. No, that's not exactly what's going to happen, but they're saying there's a very increased risk of fire. Okay, what's going on? Essentially, 5,048 motorcycles of the R18 have been shipped since 2021 with the optional reverse gear, which is a great little system, by the way, for a heavy bike. Fantastic. But the sealing ring may deteriorate, which allows moisture to get in, and then it can cause everything to overheat, and therefore you've got an increased risk of fire. But how many motorcycles have burst into a ball of flames? Well, none as far as I'm aware, but there have been a few incidents outside of the United States, interestingly enough, none in the United States, only in other markets, where there's been some kind of thermal activity or a thermal runaway. Now, interesting enough, although BMW are citing an increased risk of fire, all they've said is that in other markets, there have been certain R18s with the reverse gear installed, that there's been some kind of thermal event. But it doesn't actually describe what the thermal event is. Is it a fire? Does it actually burst into flames? Or is it just leading to some kind of plastic melting or something like that? So it doesn't actually describe exactly what this thermal event is. So bear that in mind. So I don't believe there's been an actual case of an R18 bursting into flames. But obviously the recall is there in place for obviously this defect. Okay, so exactly what is going on? So basically what they're saying, it's the sealing of the reverse gear control unit that is at fault. This lets in moisture or humidity, which over the whole length of the lifetime of the motorcycle, which however long that they deem this to be, this could cause corrosion on the electrical contacts. And it states, in very rare cases, this could lead to an increased risk of a thermal event. Again, what is a thermal event in this case? Are we talking about smoke and flames, or are we talking about a little bit of melting here or there? And what they're saying is, particularly with motorcycles that operate in hot and humid conditions, okay, there are lots of places in the United States, for example, where it can get hot and humid, let's say in Florida, for example, right? But in other markets around the world that you got these kind of conditions, especially in those conditions, there'll be an increased risk of humidity getting into a faulty or bypassing a faulty seal. Therefore, there's an increased risk of a thermal event. Again, what is a thermal event? The thermal event will stop the reverse gear from functioning. Okay, so basically it's just going to melt the electrics a little bit, and that reverse gear will stop working. Therefore, we have to recall it because it's a defective item. I'm not questioning the recall of the defective item. What I'm questioning is, well, how realistic are we talking about any kind of motorcycle fire? I'm not so sure it's so clear here. Now, it particularly says here, this is quite interesting in the report, leakage current between corroded contacts could result in component heating. This could lead to heat damage, scorching damage, smoke development on the reverse gear control unit. In very rare cases, this could increase the risk of a thermal event or a fire. So this is where they're spelling it out. But nothing has particularly happened. Nothing that we know that is specifically saying that there's been an extreme thermal event that has actually indeed led to a fire. It's basically saying this could happen down the line. In June 2023, BMW became aware of a 2021 motorcycle that had some kind of thermal event. Between July 2023 and January 24, there were more instances of these thermal events, again, not in the United States, but in other parts of the world. Now, where they found this particularly prevalent was in the hot and humid conditions of Southeast Asia. So BMW R18 motorcycles in that part of the world are most susceptible to this. Now, in February, BMW initiated a voluntary recall for that region of the world. So basically, they're just targeting that area. However, on June 27th, BMW became aware of another thermal event, however, not from that Southeast Asian region. So this kicked them into gear, pardon the pun, into doing a global recall. Now, first of all, you can imagine they were doing a full diagnostic, full analysis, full engineering analysis. So then there were subsequent subsequently another 3 findings or 3 events between August and September, and 2 were within the Southeast Asian region and 1 was outside of the region. So whilst this engineering investigation analysis was ongoing, and because there were 3 subsequent events, they decided to say, right, in September we are going to do a global recall now. But they haven't got a fix for this. What they're going to do, they're going to recall all the R18s and they're going to disconnect the reverse gear. That's what they're going to do. They're just going to say, you cannot have this reverse gear anymore. And at a later stage, we're going to come out with some kind of fix. Now, what BMW is saying, that riders won't be able to reconnect this. You're not going to be able to do it. And at some point, when they get a replacement part, they'll recall you back in and then they'll fit the new part and therefore they'll reconnect the whole system again. So how long is this going to take? Who knows at this stage? So my question is this. If, let's say, you live in the UK, you live in other parts of the world that this has never happened to, are you really going to take your bike in for a recall on something that's never going to happen? Or are you obliged to take your bike in because, guess what, it's within warranty? So if your bike is in warranty, you're going to have to abide by this recall. If your bike is outside of warranty, you're probably thinking, well, do you know what? Do I even really need it? Do I even use a reverse gear for a start? If you never use a reverse gear, then you probably think, I'd just take it into recall, let them disconnect it, and there's no problem waiting. If you do use a reverse gear, then you're probably thinking, do you know what? It's never going to happen. What's the point? Especially if it's outside of warranty. I'm thinking, I'll just keep the bike. And, when the eventual fix comes in, they recall me for that, then I'll just take it in for the proper fix. But until that point, it's been absolutely fine until now. So there we go. That's the BMW R18 recall. That's the reason for it. They're saying that it could burst into a ball of flames. Well, hardly. But there is a recall in effect. They're going to disconnect the reverse gear function for this reverse control unit that can have moisture ingress, which can cause corrosion on the contacts, which could lead to a thermal event, a thermal runaway and fire. Oh dear, it's all a bit too much. But essentially, logically, you would say, yes, I have to abide by this recall. That would make sense. But when you kind of scratch beneath the surface here, and especially if there's never been any incidents in your operating region, then you kind of think, well, do I really need to jump to attention and get this recall sorted out? Or can you give yourself a bit of breathing space? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. But this is a BMW R18 recall. It's in effect now. Get in touch with your local dealership if you're unsure. And I'm sure they're going to be sending out letters to owners very, very shortly around the world. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you like what I do here, hey, keep on watching the videos and I'll catch you again on another video coming very soon. Bye now.